You've graduated from Part 1. You dived into a dungeon and got a taste of healing. Now you're ready to begin optimizing your healing. In this guide, I'll move you only a little, but show you how it makes a huge difference. You'll need Astrologian unlocked to follow along.
It's time to heal!
And if you don't have that yet, don't worry. I'll also be posting a next step guide for Scholar. You'll see that if you can do early White Mage, you can do any early healer. Today's video covers two things, options and flow. We'll start with options. I had you begin with White Mage because it's the most lacking early game healer. It built a foundation of how to heal, but I also hope that you felt a little frustrated. I hope you wished you had other tools. The reason for that is because other healers do have more tools that allow you to do your job more easily. Let's compare the abilities of White Mage and Astrologian before level 30, and you'll see that Astrologian is objectively a better healer early on, with a very similar style of play. That's actually true through level 50. Above level 30, Astrologian even has more options due to its cards. Both jobs have a basic heal, a group heal, a raise, a damage cast, and a damage over time. The numbers for these abilities are nearly identical. White Mage has a higher damage potency with Stone 2, but Astrologian has a higher damage over time potency. Astrologian also has 3 tools that White Mage simply doesn't have. Number 1, Lightspeed. This allows you to cast Benefic or Malefic instantly. I'll break this down later. Number 2, Essential Dignity. This is an off-global heal, which means you can use it between casts. Not only does this help you maintain your combat flow, it instantly heals as much as or more than Benefic, growing in strength as the target's HP decreases. At maximum potency, this instant weavable ability heals for more than Benefic 2. Number 3, Benefic 2, by the way, is unlocked at level 26, 4 levels earlier than Cure 2. This lets you use it in Toto-Rak and 2 extra guild hests. Given these extra tools, what we're going to do is directly expand on what we accomplished in Part 1. Run Toto-Rak. You should see just how much easier it is this time around. Before we do that though, let's discuss flow. If by now you haven't mastered the principle of always be casting, or never letting your global cooldown sit idly, then it's time to practice. Specifically, we want to ensure that we know the difference between a global ability and an off-global ability. As we're adding an off-global to our set, we need to make sure we get it right. Find a training dummy and start using your damage cast. Begin hitting the cast again just before the circle completes. This will queue up your next cast, meaning no wasted time. While this circle completes, you can't use any global ability. All global abilities have the circle, so it's easy to tell which ones they are. But even when the circle is going, you can activate off-global abilities. You cannot, however, use an off-global while casting. As your cast is ending, hit the Essential Dignity button. Immediately after Essential Dignity goes off, target the dummy and continue with your damage cast. Add in your damage over time ability, refreshing it just before it drops, and continue to practice adding in your off-global heal while constantly using damage casts. The best way to ensure something hits right on schedule is to hit it a few times, not just once. Okay, we've talked about options and flow. We've compared White Mage and Astrologian. Now it's time to run Toto-Rak again. This time, you have additional tools at your disposal that will make this easier. But that's not all I want you to see. I want you to develop a mindset of deal damage and fill in with heals. On your first pull, I want you to resist the urge to heal your tank at 70% HP. I want you to let him dip below half. Continue to use damage casts as this happens, then weave in Essential Dignity between 2 casts. Essential Dignity will give an immediate burst heal, and only then can you refocus on gauging. This will allow you to feel confident in your tools, know their strengths and weaknesses, and solidify you as an important damage dealer. Also be aware that your basic heal cast will be more efficient than Cure was because you have Benefic 2. Let your tank sink down to 50%. See how much stronger your heals are. Then resume damage casts if possible. As an Astrologian, your damage casts are weaker, but your damage over time is nearly twice as strong. When you're following your tank, applying damage over time as usual, I want you to incorporate another tool that will increase your damage, thereby making your job easier. Where White Mage had an extra burst of damage on its damage over time, Astrologian does not. However, Astrologian's Lightspeed reduces cast times by 2.5 seconds, for a length of 15 seconds. In other words, any spell except Raise is instant cast for that time. Once your damage over time is applied to all the enemies, you can activate Lightspeed, then cast Malefic as you run. You'll ultimately deal more damage than you would as a White Mage, without worrying about cast times. Lightspeed is also an option for emergencies, but hopefully it won't come to that. It's better used on damage than healing, and will be part of your damage rotation in the future. So let's recap. Practice constant damage casting on a dummy. Practice switching targets and using Essential Dignity between casts. Practice using Lightspeed while you run after applying damage over time. And this time around, you'll see just how much better the early kit is for Astrologian than White Mage. This should give you confidence that healing has many tools, and with practice, you can make healing easy. Next time, we'll explore HP regeneration and how to use it during pulls. This will prepare us for mid-level healing methods. Before we dive into level 35 and above, let's first get that Arcanist to level 30 to unlock Scholar. And I'll see you next time.